Hi and welcome to Art Club on Tour. I've brought all my crafty creative pieces from home into the wonderful Newport Museum and Art Gallery. It has a really special place in my heart from my hometown in Newport, and it was where I first started my creative journey from the age of 18. So I had an exhibition here with my mum, who's an artist in graphics and textiles, and then I started doing work in community arts from there. So I am absolutely delighted to be here today. So we're going to be making some really creative sketchbooks and scrapbooks, doodle books today, or your creativity book, whatever you'd like to call it. So that's what we're going to be focusing on and showing you a really simple make. So I'm just going to show you a few pieces of inspiration, things that I'm in the process of making, because with a sketchbook, especially with artists, I don't think they're ever finished. You can always add more, you can layer, you can add colour, texture, words, and there's lots of inspiration that I'll be showing you today. Once I show you these, I'll explain about a few websites that are really handy to look at for you to get some inspiration. So first of all, we'll go for the big book. This is an A5 book, which I'll be showing you how to make today. What's amazing about these concertina books is that they're really fun to put in different shapes and spaces and places to show your artwork. So I'll be showing you how to add some texture and collage into your pages and work, and even a bit later on how to make some really miniature pieces of places of books which you can put your stories, your artwork, and capture your memories in. So there's lots of different things that I'll be showing you. There's no right or wrong, so it's completely up to you and how you create things. But I like to have a bit of intrigue and interest with your sketchbooks. So you might be looking at your washing line or be interested in creating some fashion items. So it's completely up to you. And there's also really interesting pockets and spaces and places, and then even old tags and making your own envelopes. There's lots of different ways you can capture your own creative journey and story. So this one, I've done an Art Club one here based on my space at home, looking through the window, so you could do views and journeys. Maybe you could write a journal or a diary, and then capture and create some things you can pop into little pockets. But again, if you just want to draw and make a journey, that's completely up to you. I love a bit of googly eyes, so I've added some portraiture here, which you could do on your family. I've started here to put together some frames, ready to put my own pieces of art. So you could even do your own museum display at home if you wanted to, and invite your family to see. I've been really inspired by the rainbows, so I've started to look at texture and colours here, all around the streets. And then I've even put little pockets of hope together here. And then again, my favourite is a little miniature book at the end to go through, so you can add little stories and things in those. Now, you don't have to do separate pages. This is a work in progress, so it's not finished just yet. This is just all magazines, so if you don't have paints or anything at home, you can just layer, and you can paint with paper and scissors really, so you don't need anything else, just some glue and some scissors. Or even you can just rip if you want to and create texture. So this is a view out of my window. So I saw a beautiful rainbow coming through. There's a lovely blossom tree. And then I may turn this into the sunset, so this might end up being different colours. So that's just some examples. You could do some drawings or a doodle book, or, as I said, your own art gallery. You could even make your own miniature tickets to invite your family to, if you'd like to, and open up your own little show, an exhibition. And you can go really small if you want to. So it's completely up to you. Once I show you how to make your A5 book, you can then make it any other size that you choose. So it's just the paper that you start with, you'll end up being able to make that into loads of different shapes. So they're really fun and they're really addictive once you get going. So lots of simple materials to make those. If you want some other inspiration, you can go on to Art UK and have a look at all the wonderful exhibitions and collections of other artists, and also the People's Collection Wales, and have a look there. There's wonderful photos, there's lots of historical elements and art, so there's a wealth of information there online. But obviously you only need really simple materials to create these books, so please don't panic. You can create art out of really simple materials and and it's about what you put in it, your creativity and inspiration. You don't have to do what I'm showing you. I really welcome and encourage you to do your own style of art. Just be inspired today. So let's get started. I'm just going to show you some simple equipment and materials to get together to make your own sketchbook. So first of all, you need some paper. I've used 7 sheets here, up to you how much, A4 or whatever size you have. As long as you start with the same size, that's fine. Pencil, some glue stick, a pair of scissors and some card. Recycled, even better. And now we're ready to make our sketchbook. So what you need to do first is clear your space and take your paper, one piece first, and just fold it in half. This is where you see my concentrated face. And just score the edge. So either with your finger, if you've got a ruler or something sharper you can, but just press down that edge. And that's all you need to do. So you need to repeat that for however many pieces of paper you have. So keep going. So try and match these up, because if they're even, it's going to be much easier to put your book together. So take your time with this piece. Don't rush. You've got plenty of time to make your book. And you'll see they start to come together really quickly. So you're just still folding in half. Give it a good press along the sides so it comes together nicely, like so. I've got one more left after this one. And there we go. So all your sheets of paper should be folded in half. Okay, next step then. Now, easy for me to remember here, just going to place some things around, is I usually do one as a bird and one as a tent. It's the most easiest way to remember how to place them together. So what you do, I'm just going to pop these there, is the one sheet on the table, you need to cover in glue. Now, the easiest way to do this is glue all the way around the edge, only on the one side up to the fold. So all around each edge, and then give it a few lines of glue in the middle as well, so it really sticks on securely. And then match up your paper to the folds as equal as you can. If you find you don't do it first of all, you can quickly put it off gently and you should be able to place it back down. And then that is your first fold piece stuck together. And you'll start to see it'll be much stronger once you've layered all your pieces. So again, we've got bird and a tent the other way around here, and you just stick them together. So as long as one on top of the other, and you keep going. So glue all the way around the edge, and then straight inside as well. So you'll find it makes a bit of a zigzag pattern, so like a concertina shape, as my glue has run off under the table. It's back. And then it's starting to come together now. So keep going. Now, you can make this as small or as big as you like. So it's completely up to you how long you make your sketchbook, whether you make it as long as you, as tall as you are, whether you make a few pages, because remember, with this concertina book, you have both sides to use, so you've got both sides to decorate. So there we are, and we just keep going. So you just keep repeating that same technique. As you can see, it's getting longer now. So you keep going until you've got all your sheets of paper stuck. There's no right or wrong with how many sheets you use, it's completely up to you. And there is your sketchbook body, which I will show you now. So give it a good press down, and then there you have So it might need a moment to dry. You'll have more time than me to leave that for a second. You have your body of the sketchbook. Okay, so next we need to sort a front and a back cover. Take your card, scrap card if you have something lying around. It could be any old card if you want to recycle something you already have at home. Take one side, so you could just take one sheet separately and then trace around it. I'm going to use the top there because I've already got a straight line on the card. So you might want to go straight to the edge and use that. If you have a ruler and you prefer to do it that way, you're more than welcome. I don't mind it being a bit more freehand. And then you draw all the way around. And there you have your rectangle, so you need to then cut that out. So once you've cut your front cover out, you then need to repeat the same thing to cut your back cover. So you could just trace this card and repeat the same step. So I'll show you now. Take your time with cutting to make sure you get this nice and equal so it'll fit your sketchbook. So that's your one side of your sketchbook, and then you need to cut the cover for the other side. You might use some of the bits that you've got there, so maybe keep any bits of scrap card just in case you want to make anything else to go with your sketchbook inside. So that could end up being levers or pockets or all sorts of lovely things. Okay, and then cut out your second cover. It's up to you whether you use the plain side of the card or whether you like the texture and seeing that it actually came from something recycled. So I'm looking down here because I'm concentrating. This card has got a mind of its own today. It's flying away everywhere. Okay. So after you've stuck your front cover on, you then need to go to the back. Make sure you've got the back sheet of paper there and then glue it on top. So glue all around the edge and then straight on top. And stick down your piece of card. This will get addictive and you will start finding things around your home to be able to add to this. It will need a bit of time to dry, as you can see here with the pieces of paper. So make sure you give your sketchbook a chance to just have a moment's space to dry. So while it's doing that, you can set up your other materials to add to your sketchbook. So that is your concertina sketchbook make. So it almost looks like a zigzag. Make sure you press it together once it's had a few moments to dry. So that is how you make your sketchbook. So now you have your sketchbook together, it's time to decorate it. I have left the cover front and back plain as I want to see what you come up with. You can create your own sign on there if you want to. So I've just used some old cardboard and stripped back. So you've got the corrugated texture in it. It's completely up to you. You could use some old parcel paper and maybe add a symbol or sign on there, or you can just keep it plain and maybe add some words. I love using old typewriters, so whether you have something you can type on or just stamp or just write it, it's completely up to you how you decorate your front cover. For the inside then, there's lots of different ways you can reuse bits of materials around your home and add them to make a really colourful sketchbook. So the first one I'm going to do just some ideas really, so it's completely up to you. You don't have to treat them as separate pieces of paper. You can treat them as a whole book that extends. So you could do a journey, you could do your view out of your living room, you could make your own exhibition or maybe draw your family and friends. So you can just rip paper. If there's any old magazines, newspapers, all sorts of things that you can start to get going there. So I'm just going to start that. But let's just stop a minute and have a look at the things that you could use to decorate your book. So you might have some old leaflets at home that you'd like to cut up instead of throwing them away in your recycling bin. You may have an old card you could recycle and stick into your book. Here I've cut up wrapping paper and printed card. You might have old maps to hand or something, again, that could be in a magazine. Magazine paper is brilliant. And even a piece of a colouring sheet where it's really well as a really vivid background if you want to. But if you have your book plain and you just want to add pencil and pattern, you could make a doodle book, a memory book, a journal for all your time at home at the moment. Even in nature books, you could collect things like beautiful autumn leaves, press them and stick them into your book, or put them in pockets. It's endless hours of fun collecting things really around your home. Even tags that may be on garments at home. I've got a piece of an old bit of measuring tape here, some playing cards. And then you could start to collect things up and cut them out ready. So this is like collage really, where you can cut out things and stick them together to make different ideas. So I've got some butterflies I found here in a magazine. And then I've just started to write different messages. So my auntie, Mima, would always say to me, cold hands, warm heart. So that's always something that's stuck in my mind. So that will go into my book. So then you just start to get your pages ready. So just have fun. Sometimes you might not know what's going to happen and you just want to have fun sticking. I love the sound of that. So it might just be that you create some backgrounds. So that's the first thing that sometimes is quite useful to do. You might want to work quite minimal. Sometimes I do, honest. Or you may want to cover the whole page in colour and creativity. So it's completely up to you how far you go with your style of decorating. So it's your book. And then once you find you've got enough there for your pattern, you can start to add things on top. Hear that? I've just got into the zone of ribbon paper and forgetting about what I'm doing here. Right, so let's see. So you can then think about things you could add on top. Now, you could have a look through magazines. As I said before, you could even look at doing a mini exhibition. So we have wonderful artist pictures here that we can use to display. And you just start to layer things up. You may have an idea, so it may be a journey, it may be something outside your window, or you might just want to have fun creating and piecing something together, and you could make up a story afterwards. You could make your own storybook even. But a journey book, especially at this time of being at home, might be something you could really get involved in and forget about the world outside for a little bit. And you just start adding lots of layers on top. Now, what I'd like to show you is just a simple way of making a pocket. So if I just use a different pattern here to make it stand out, all you do, cut a piece of card, whatever size you like, if you've made something smaller to fit in, and then you only glue the edge of the card. Stick that on, and then you'll find you'll be able to use that as a pocket once it's dried. So it'll need a little time to dry, and you'll be able to push in your books and use that as a little pocket. Again, if you want to place something over the whole of the book, you can really easily. Another thing that works really well is old envelopes. If you have any mail come through the house and you want to cut up the envelope, stick it in your book, and you can place things inside there, stories and things you're collecting from around your home. So I've just cut a bigger piece of a rectangle here, and I'm going to create a pocket for the bottom of my space here. With your tags, you could maybe write little messages on, or you could use some tape. So here I just have washi tape, which is just pattern tape, but even just masking tape, you can make your own pattern on it if you like. So you can just start to build up interests, layers and ideas. So you're just cutting and sticking and layering as much as you can. Be brave with this and be bold. You know, don't be afraid of adding too much. Sometimes the simple ideas work the most, but it's nice to have a bit of creative chaos alongside it too. And then you can start to think about what you're going to place in your lovely little pockets. So I'll just show you this now. So already your book is starting to come alive, and you can see you don't have to frame that. You could then add colour afterwards if you like, or you can just keep placing things and collecting them. If you're looking outside and you've been inspired by the autumn leaves, you may want to do some printing or tracing of shapes and things as well. And then you could just start by finding other patterns. You can cut, if you like things more particular and precise. You're welcome to cut the shapes if you like and add on your colours. And then, just going to find it amongst all my collected bits here. You could then even draw some, so you might want a simple page where you draw your frames. Again, you can take more care than me, but the art is in being expressive and adding a doodle and shape. And you could then make your own gallery space if you like. So I don't mind mine not being completely perfect and being on a bit of a wonk. So this will be the wonky art gallery. And you could then add your pictures and images inside of it and add some colour. So you can make this, you could just do a whole book with pen and paper. So I'm intrigued to see what you're going to do with your book and your ideas. Now, it's starting to come together, so you can see that all of a sudden it's starting to look much more alive. And remember, you have the other side of the book to do as well. Okay, now you can keep adding things on top and layering, and you can just go wild with that. So there's lots of different things you can do. So once you've made your biggest sketchbook, you can then have a go at some of my favourite ones here. You can make your own miniature book. So really simple materials and as easy as making those. So all you need for this is a piece of paper, A4 size if you have it, a scissors, some scrap paper for the cover, so whatever you choose, either card or paper, something a bit thicker, anything to decorate it, and then some string or some tape to tie around it. So take your piece of paper and fold it in half. There's lots of folding with this one again. Then fold it across. Like so. And then fold it again. And then once more. So that's going to be your book pages. Open it up. And you'll have all the folds marked. So you can do this with a ruler and pencil, but I find it much easier to fold and cut the folds. And then cut the folds out. You can cut them with the paper folded over to be quicker if you like. Just take your time to make sure it stays nice and precise. So that already is starting to make your book pages. Again, up to you how many pages you put in. So for this one, I'm going to make a slightly smaller book. I'm just going to use 6 pages here. So like a little newsreader, tap them together, and then you're ready to make them. Fold that in half. You can trim any unruly bits of paper. And then decide on your cover. Let's use that. So just open up one of your sheets. Add your glue stick around the edge and all in the centre. And then glue that straight onto your backing piece. And you can then cut it out once it's stuck on there, which I find easier with the smaller pieces. So just cut around it. Take your time. Start to think about what you're going to place inside it. Fold that up there and either use some string or some tape to hold that together. So you're just taping in the centre where the pages are and then right around the other side just to hold it all together. You can do this with household string, even a bobble. If you have an old bobble, you can tie that onto the book. And these make really cute little books. You can trim it down to whatever size you prefer. So just if any bits are sticking out, you have time to trim down your book, and there is your little book. So they're really cute to take on a little adventure, pop in your pocket, a little pencil, and you can be doodling and drawing as you're going around, because artists are really inspired by the world around them, all the things that are happening. It could be the smallest thing you find. You could even do rubbings of spaces and places to use textures. Autumn leaves. There's so many wonderful things you can collect for your lovely little book. This might be a story of your journey outside or from your window, or you could even make some characters like our lovely Art Club characters here and take them on a little adventure inside your book. And there we have it. So you've made now your lovely concertina book, or you might have made a selection of miniature books. I would love to see what you make and create. Please share with Art Club, #CreateWithNaz, and share your wonderful images. You can be in them, or you can just share what you've made, and you will be a part of a community art gallery. We will be posting them on Instagram and Facebook, and I'd really enjoy to see your smiles, your creativity. Thank you so much for joining me today in this wonderful space, the Newport Museum and Art Gallery. Look out for more Art Club on tour.